Welcome to Squatch-D TV, where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Kulls, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D TV. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris. And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, April 7th, 2024. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, along with my co-host right down there, Mr. Chris Bennett. Hello, Chris. How you doing down there?
Steve, it's good to see you, man. I'll tell you what, we've had some nice weather today down here.
I really think tomorrow is going to eclipse everything.
It could. That's a dark thought, but it might happen.
Somehow I think the lights are just going to go out tomorrow.
Well,
I don't know.
That is pretty neat, the eclipse thing. And I was checking the path, and unfortunately, I am not going to be in the path for a total eclipse. And I really hate that because I really wanted to see it get dark at about 1:58 p.m. I think is when it's going to happen around here. But it's okay. It'll just get a little dim, but not.
Well, there's plenty of ways to watch it, Chris. You can always, get up on the computer over there in Kentucky and watch it online.
Right. Yeah. Get the squirrel in the cage and let him run. Get the internet working. Maybe something. Yeah. But no, I would have to drive a couple of hours north to get a good view of the eclipse. But you know what? I'm just not that excited about it to do that. I might step outside and watch everything dim out a little bit, but that's okay. That's enough for me.
And you know what happened? Somewhere, somebody has no clue what's going on. They're going to walk out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to happen.
Anyway. All right, we've had a lot of. All right, hold on a second. I just saw something in the chat. I know I missed it. Oh well, we'll catch up with everybody in a minute. But what do we get? And we want to say hi to our guest down there from Bexar, Bigfoot, Mr. Rod Nichols. Hello, sir.
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Bexar County Bigfoot. And we're gonna have a great conversation. Again, it's always fun to talk about Texas. We have a bunch of good friends down in Texas. We know Jeff Stewart, the Crypto Hulk, Mike Waldy from the Texas Bigfoot Rangers, and Craig Woolheater over there on the east side over there in Jefferson. So
yeah, Mr. Craig.
So
love Texas. Back in the the mid 1800s, half the Bennett family stayed here in Kentucky. The other half went to Texas.
There you go.
Love Texas.
So, I do have one announcement tonight, Chris, and I did say that in my adverts that I do have a special announcement tonight, and I want to apologize for Friday night's Bigfoot news. I didn't mean to be as profane as I was, and I know y'all are going to say it's okay, you're entitled, and I get that, but sometimes I have to rise above that to be professional. And, I kind of led from the heart last Friday. So again, my apologies for that, but that doesn't mean it's over, because my other announcement is Tuesday morning, we're going to be putting the final nail in the coffin of the RMSO and the hoaxer Kelly Shaw. And we have the receipts.
Just the facts.
And it'll be in just the facts format.
No opinion, just the facts.
Yeah. And I think there's a little fun with it too.
Yeah, there is.
We have a little fun with it, but so be on the lookout for that this Tuesday, and this will give him plenty of warning to just keep his eye out for it too, because I know he's probably out there lurking in the chat right now. But unlike me, Shaw's not stuck in my head.
Remember, after all, he considers me trying to be the moral compass. When did I ever say that, Chris?
Well, I don't know that you've said that as much as you've demonstrated it.
Well, I've never meant to be like this big moral compass.
No.
I just call it like I see it, for crying out loud.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Calling out hoaxes when you see them.
Yep.
What's wrong with that?
And I just have this little skill set, being an investigator for as long as I have, to dig a little bit and come at a problem from a different angle than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, to me, I think Friday's Bigfoot news was maybe got a little bit negative, but it was well deserved. You know, I mean, you were fighting off some bad information there, and I kind of understand it. And yeah, I know you were a little red faced.
I was having a bad day too to begin with.
Well, you know.
Well, I've been having a bad month with this neck, and my God, you know, yesterday.
Oh yeah.
You know, yesterday I had a horrible spasm, and today it's kind of a little cranky. But luckily, I go to the chiropractor tomorrow, so hopefully I'll be feeling much better Tuesday. He's
going to realign you.
Yep. Well, Rod, I don't know if you know, but I got smacked by a tractor trailer twice about a month ago.
Oh wow!
Backed into me.
Once wasn't enough. Let's get him twice.
And it was really the second time that got me, because I wasn't expecting him to hit me a second time, but he just kept on going.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's terrible. That is terrible. Yeah.
So I've been sitting home all month.
Wow.
But anyway, I digress. Let's get into look at that. Let's get into doing our roll call in the chat.
Oh,
First,
yeah.
First in tonight is our good friend Relic Hominin, who said they'll be back tomorrow because they're over the pond there.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the replay, bud. Good to see you, Relic Hominin. Appreciate it.
And of course, we got Mick, who says, "Oh no, another new name in Sasquatch research. Looking forward to it." So he doesn't know you, so. Sharon, hello, Sharon. Sharon's from Belgium. Good to see you, Sharon. So
Cool.
Awesome.
You remember it as absent-minded as I can be. I remembered you're from Belgium. See that? Now, what's your name down there on you down there, right there? What's your name? Roy Rutabager, Ralph.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay, and we got Walter Kroll in the house. Don Gumow Jr., Mitch Hargrove, who said he'll catch us on the replay. Henry May also will catch us on the replay. Daniel Weeks, Daniel Weeks in the house. Low Rider, good to see you. Martin Stilts, hello. Oh, there's the there's what the comment I saw. Pat Collins, watching RMSO will make you go blind. Pete H, good to see you. Ristol, good to see you. Ristol's in the house. Uncle Bones too. Hello, Uncle Bones. Robert Dunduvan is in the house. Bill, finding the trackway. Hello, sir. I think we already covered Pete H. If we didn't, hello. Brian and Chewy Go Hiking. And Brian and Chewy Go Hiking are celebrating being a member 10 months. And we're going to get Brian and Chewy on real soon. Yeah. Well, I know we're going to get Brian on. I know Chewy. I know dogs, they'll be on if they want to be on. But again, Brian, thank you. And thank Chewy too. Give him a pat on the head first.
Yeah. Extra treat.
Tom Connolly, good to see you, Tom. Tom's in the house. Outback Orchard. Hello, Outback.
Back Orchard.
Jeremiah, Bigfoot Society. Snapple time.
Jeremiah.
Good to see you.
And there's my good buddy Jim, traveling with Jim. There he is.
Yeah.
And who else? I think.
Do you Bat Mom? Hey, Bat Mom.
Bat Mom's. Yep, Bat Mom's in the house. Hello, Bat Mom. Good to see you. Jeff Strader. There he is.
Jeff.
What was that about Kentucky Fried Chicken? No, Jeff. That was Kentucky Fried Fixes. But I get it. But he mentioned the word Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
Boris Kahn, good to see you, sir. I think this is like the second or third time we're seeing Boris in chat. Good to see you. Welcome. That's right. Bigfoot Pizza in WrestleMania.
Very cool.
Right on, man. Yeah.
Yep. Kaiju Ninja 1985. Hello.
Kaiju Ninja, welcome. I think that's everybody. I think.
So as they were talking, as I was apologizing, I said, I know it was not okay. It was terrible. Just kidding. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Jay Fritz.
Jay Fritz in the house. We'll just leave that joke there.
Yeah, I don't. We're not going to read that out.
Yeah, we've got enough trouble with Friday.
If you're listening on the podcast, make sure you drop by the YouTube channel and check out the video portion of the show too. Sometimes you'll see some of the things up on the screen that we don't normally talk about.
There's Grasshopper in the house.
Grasshopper.
Hey, Mike. There's Mike, Tactical Bigfoot Research. Hello, sir.
Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, Mike.
See Tack.
And he was just out with Brian out in parts unknown, and they were doing a little boots on the ground stuff.
Cool.
And David Gray, David, I hope you were feeling better, my friend. Just when I thought I got it bad, about 4 or 5 days, maybe even a week later, David got into a really bad wreck, flipped his truck, broke his collar, broke some bones in his.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get it quite that bad. Thank God. But brother, I pray for you every day, and I hope for a quick recovery because we need you out this year when we do some investigations.
Hang in there, Dave.
So okay, I think we're almost there. We said Jay Fritz is there. Lurking his vault of BS. I know who that is. And we got Little Kilroy hunting Woolly Booger.
Right, Little Kilroy.
Josh Howard, I'm back. Let's go. Hello, Josh. Welcome back. And Blake Burrows, who finally said, "I made it."
Welcome, Blake. There's Mike Freeman. Hello, Mike.
Oh, Mike Freeman. Yeah, this thing just popped out again more. There's John, Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks. We got Mike Freeman out there. Yeah. And Sasquatch Wizard. I think we got everybody now.
I think so.
So anyhow,
kind of getting lost.
I think we got it. So let's get to our guest now. Yes. We've been at just about 15-minute mark, which is pretty healthy. So, Rod, let's get to this. What started you in this? First of all, you run an organization called Bexar County Bigfoot. Where exactly in Texas is Bexar County?
So I'm in San Antonio, Texas.
Nice area.
Yeah, and we pronounce it Bear. The X is silent.
That's right. That's right. Bear County. I remember that. Yep.
Other people may say Behar, and that's correct too. Most people will say Bear County. I think it has a nice ring, Bear County Bigfoot. So I just kind of keep it, like that, just because it just kind of flows. I think the name sounds pretty cool. So that's the way I keep it. Bear County Bigfoot in San Antonio. We're south central, more or less, in Texas. So Austin is about 60 minutes away from us. So we're about 2 hours away from Corpus Christi, which is the Gulf of Mexico as well. So we're kind of right in between. Kind of got the best of both worlds.
Very cool. So weekend at the beach or weekend hunting Bigfoot.
You can, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Best of both worlds.
So what got you into Bigfoot per se?
Yeah, I would tell you, and I tell everybody this from a child, I was always a believer. I really loved, the unknown, cryptids, things like UFOs, things like that. I was the kid at the book fair that just would spend all his money on Bigfoot books and Loch Ness Monster and things of that nature. And then kind of on a side note, I was a big primate fan, so I followed people like Diane Fossey and Jane Goodall and really, really embraced, primates. I really loved primates. My mom introduced me to a friend of hers that was friends with Whitley Strieber, who had a book. I guess this first book was Communion. It was a UFO encounter and abduction. He's from San Antonio as well. So, I was really surrounded a lot by, whether it's cryptids, UFOs, things like that, and then, San Antonio itself has a history of, sightings and encounters dating back to the 70s. We used to have a Air Force base called Kelly Air Force Base a long time ago. And that was, surrounded by a community, a residential area. And, there were some sightings there and some prints, and that was in the newspaper as well. We've had, there's a famous 911 phone call of a homeless couple that ran into one of these creatures, and they were asking for animal control, and they saw this thing, and it had a white-tailed deer. It was chomping down on it, and looked up at them and screamed at them and ran off with that deer. And so we've definitely have some activity, and fast forward to my adult life. I was watching a YouTube channel from a gentleman that was in Utah. I can't remember exactly the channel. I don't think the channel is around anymore, but it was fascinating to me because he presented trace evidence in the form of wood structures. That was what he documented: wood structures, prints. He also had his own encounter as well that he talked about, but a lot of it was on the wood structure side. And to me, I was looking at this stuff and I was just kind of like, wow, this is interesting. I was totally ignorant to the subject. I knew there was a Bigfoot, and to my knowledge, it was just Patterson-Gimlin film, and it was up there in Northern California or Washington State, and that was where it was at, and that was it. And so come to find out, that is not so. These creatures reside in all over. They're sprinkled all around the United States. So I binge watched. I was on disability. I had hurt my back. And I think we talked about that, Steve.
Yeah,
my lower back and it was I had sciatica, the whole thing, right? So I was out for actually 3 months. It was bad. It was really bad. But I was still kind of mobile, but I was just kind of slow walking, right? Yeah. And I binge watched all this gentleman's videos, and the last video he told us his methodology. He showed us, he mapped it out and said, hey, if you think that this is a hoax, you think I'm putting you on, you think this is a lie, let me show you what I find, what I look for in order to find this trace evidence, right? And, the habitat has to support big game. There has to be a water source. So that was one of the things, a couple of things that he laid out, and, a number of other things. But the main thing was creeks and greenways that correlate with sightings and trace evidence, right? So
all makes great sense.
Yes, sir. It does. So I watched all of it, and I sat there and I said, you know what? I'm going to go out tomorrow, and I'm going to test this theory. I'm going to test this because I'm naturally a skeptic. I always have been. Now, while I want to believe at that point in time, and I felt like I was a believer, from a little kid, you have to really debunk yourself. I really feel like you have to kind of just be your own critic, right? So I went out and I said, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to test this theory. I went out with my son, who was, I think he was like 11 or 12 at the time. And I went out to find a wood structure using the same methodology. And that day we found a wood structure using that same methodology. And it blew my mind because I sat there and I was like, this is crazy. Like this has got to be homeless people. This has got to be Boy Scouts, whatever the case was. And then I started examining these pieces, and they were ripped out. Some of them had the root system still on them. They were not cut. They were in an A-frame fashion, and they were close to 5-6 feet tall. And inside, the ground was very compressed. The leaves were flat. Everything was flat, like something with weight was had been in this wood structure. And it blew my mind. And I thought, there's no way. I couldn't believe it. So the next day, I went out again to a different spot that ran alongside this very prominent creek that we have in San Antonio. It's called Salado Creek. It has lots of history with Native Americans, fur trappers. It's got a lot of history. There was a famous battle. I think it was post Santa Ana. I think it was one of his last battles or last conflicts or whatever.
Now, what was the name of the creek?
Salado Creek.
Oh, Salado
Creek. Yeah,
I thought, not to be confused with the Salada Creek, which is where they make the tea out of.
So
bad joke, I know. All right.
But
hold on a second. Now I have yet to do this in a while.
Yep.
But I have to do this. You know what that joke deserves, Chris, right?
Oh yeah. Rated Ralph.
I just Ralphed myself.
Rated Ralph.
Loved every bit of it. So I went out the next day and I found another wood structure. This time I took my mother out with me, who was like, "You're nuts. What are you doing with your life, Rod?" And I'm like, "Hey, Mom, you gotta come out and check this out."
Mom, look at this.
I took her out and she was like, "What? Who would build this? Why would anybody build it?" It was baffling. That's how it began,
And before your mother actually visualized all that, she was probably going, "Oh, don't worry, I'm just going to go with him, and then we're going to take him to the nice place with the padded room."
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's what she was thinking too. And come to find out, she was just as
cool.
Baffled and intrigued as I was. And one of the things that she said, examining this other wood structure that we had found, was she's like, something with intelligence built this. It wasn't just by chance. This wasn't trees that just fell over. This wasn't, there was some weaving. There were some things in this that just doesn't happen naturally. So from that point on, I kind of became, I guess I dubbed myself the wood structure guy, I guess, and that is the trace evidence that I find. Now, come to find out, this creek greenway it runs really right down the middle of the city, and it runs for miles from north to south, and then it goes outside of the city and runs into other towns, other areas in South Texas as well. And so, I've been examining this creek and utilizing these wildlife or these wilderness parks that are attached to this greenway, this creek greenway. Now there's a water source about a mile away from me, and it's a very sizable water source in the form of it's like a small lake. So now if you're talking about a water source, you're talking about a habitat that supports big game. I think you have a recipe for some cryptid activity, and I think that's kind of what I've been chasing this whole time. I don't think it's Boy Scouts. I don't think it's bushcraft. I don't think it's stuff that naturally happens by itself. We're talking about 10 to maybe 12, 13 foot pieces of tree of whole trees that did not grow in that area, that are ripped out of the ground and fashioned into either a teepee, an A-frame, or a wigwam type of structure. And so, that begs the question, either there is a really huge guy running around building these things, or a team of people strategically placed all around the city building all of these wood structures just for a grand hoax. And I don't believe it for a minute, because we're coming up on 6 years of Bexar County Bigfoot, and I keep tabs of my areas fairly consistent, morning, noon, and towards the evening. I haven't been out at night because some of these places, I could pretty much get arrested. It's kind of private. So, surely within 6 years of doing this, I would have run into somebody building these things. And if that was the case, I would openly admit and go, "Hey, look, There it is. Yep. Mystery solved. There you go. But I've yet to run into one person building this stuff. So again, so what is it? Who is it? And so looking at these wood structures, I can place the style and the shape of these wood structures with somebody else that's up in Washington State, that's Oregon, Northern California, Oklahoma, and they almost look the same. So if that's happening here, and I can place the likeness, if you will, with a lot of other researchers that are documenting these things, I've got something substantial. I believe I do. And, along with that, you've got some prints. I've done some castings. I've done about 3 or 4 castings myself. About 3 or 4 months ago, well, no, a little bit longer, my wife and I had an encounter on the south side of San Antonio on the same creek greenway with something that growled at us that was very guttural, very low. We have no idea what it was. It threw whatever it was. I feel like it threw a huge rock at us. It fell into the creek, and this particular part of the creek has running water, a very nice spring. So I don't know what it was. I didn't see it, and at the same time that was happening on the high ground, we had a higher piece of property on the right hand side of us that was probably about 15, 20 feet up from where we were at. There was something that was paralleling us alongside, and I could see some of the saplings moving back and forth. This thing, whatever it was, moving back and forth. I can see these trees kind of just bending a little bit. And, so again, that was something that we had experienced. I'd never heard or seen in my life.
Now, Rod, let me ask you a few
Sure.
questions. What kind of animals? I mean, obviously, I don't think you guys have bear.
We do not have bears.
Even though you're pronounced Bear County.
Yeah.
How about beaver?
No.
Okay, that's a good point too. And the reason why I asked that, because I know in Southeast Texas, in the Paris area, they do have beaver out there.
Right.
But I know you guys are way further south by several hours, and it's a lot of the temperature is a lot warmer and a little bit more arid in places. So that's why I wanted to ask.
Yes.
So that, usually if I hear somebody hearing a splash in the water, a big splash, I remember those beavers in jumping into Pat May's Lake in Paris, and they were like,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. But it turned out we got one on film. It was a big beaver jumping in.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys don't have beaver there, and you don't have bear there. And
Nope.
It doesn't matter because bear don't growl anyway. A lot of people don't know that. Bears don't have they huff, they chatter their teeth.
Right.
But they don't growl.
And if I may, I can describe the sound, and the way I can describe it was that it was like listening to a hip hop song where you've got that bass, that resonating bass,
right?
Right. It was like 2 different vocals in one. It was like guttural and it was like resonating.
Right.
And it was very odd. And it happened twice. My wife turned around and looked at me and said, "Did you hear that?" I was like, "I absolutely heard that." She was like, "This is weird. We've never heard anything like that."
What part of the body, when you heard that growl, what part of the body did it affect the most?
It hit me right in my chest.
There you go. And the reason why I ask that is one of my very first cases I ever got was back in 2000. And I had been at it for a couple of years, set the website up in 99, got my first one in 2000. And this gentleman and his wife had an experience. They had a vocalization, and it always struck me. He says, because he was an outdoorsman, been there for years, since he was a kid, hiking the same areas. Encountered bear. He goes, "I'll tell you what, this thing screamed at me and it got me right here. The base, it was so big, it got me in the chest." So that's why when I asked that question, it was no surprise to me when you said chest.
Well, and I've been in music for over 20 years.
I see that.
I've been in music over 20 years. I was a bull rider for 8 years. I rode bulls. There's a lot of things that don't scare me. And this instilled fear in me instantly.
Nice.
Instantly. And I thought, my first reaction is, because somebody told me, well, pull out your camera and start videoing. That's the last thing you think of.
Right.
That's the last thing you think of. You put yourself in that situation and go, okay, now I'm going to pull out my camera. Okay, come out and show yourself. There's no way. First thing I'm going to do is try to protect my wife. And that's what I did. I wanted to get her out of there. And that's what we did. And, you know, but going back to the vocal itself, it was like being at a concert and it just resonated. It hits you right in that chest, man. Very, very odd.
Now, Mike made a comment thinking of Squatch-D singing hip hop. Now, Rod, I don't know if you know this, but I noticed you were, you know, looking at your Facebook page, you were obviously a singer in a band.
Yes. Yeah.
And was it a metal band?
I played metal. I played, it was like almost death metal. So a lot of growling and screaming, you know.
I was a singer in a band called Sinister Recall.
Nice. Right on.
So yes.
Yeah, you metal, dude. Right on.
Yeah, that's why Mike was needling me with the hip hop.
Hey, you know what? I love all music though, so I don't take offense to any of that stuff. So
no.
Mike's a good dude, man. I love Mike.
In fact, one of my songs and one of my little known talents, and I don't know if I can do it anymore. I haven't done it in a year, but
oh no.
Yes, I can beatbox with the best.
You can beatbox, dude, man. Right on.
And the funny thing is, we actually incorporated that into one of our songs, which was kind of cool.
And put out an album, man. We
singing. Pat played guitar for 20 years.
Cool.
Nice. Right on. There you go.
I still play at one.
No, so you know, for me, it was very that encounter was something that was new to us, because this whole time I had just been following these wood structures going down, you know, the creek, and you know, looking at San Antonio itself. The city literally sits on an underground cavern. We have an underground cavern where we get our water. It's called the Edwards Underground Aquifer. And that cavern stretches all the way from San Antonio to Austin. So we're talking about an hour's difference. That's a lot. That's a lot of underground cavern, a lot of passage. My working theory was that these things use the greenways, creeks as a highway, and they use them at night because we're talking about suburban areas. And so if we're talking about that now, we don't, you know, I've not seen any of these things, you know, at all. I haven't seen these creatures. I'm not going to pretend that I have at all. I'm not going to say that. But I do believe that they use these greenways and creeks at night to do their hunting. I believe that they go after the whitetail deer. And it's plentiful here. I mean, we've got whitetail all over the place, right? So, you know, a great food source, number one. And then I believe during the day, they're underground. And whether if they reside there or travel around, I don't know. But what I do know is this: it's cooler, right? We do have high humidity here. We have crazy, terrible summers here. So if you're an 8-foot a biped covered in hair, I think the last thing you want to do is be outside during the day. And then not only that, the heat that your body would emit as a big 8-foot, 7-foot, whatever hominid, right? That's you know, you don't want to be outside during the day. So I felt like these things utilize these creeks and greenways as their highway, do their hunting at night, and then, you know, during the day maybe they reside underneath, and then, you know, the cycle continues, type of thing. And that's kind of my working. Now, can I prove it? No, I can't. But that's kind of a working theory that I've got.
Well, you know, Rod, I think one of the misconceptions a lot of people have about Texas is if they've only been through like on I-40 up at the very top, they think, oh, it's all desert and cows and feedlots, you know, and that's it.
Right.
No, Texas is very, well, of course, everybody knows Texas is the largest state, but they've got green, they've got hills and hollows and rivers and streams and creeks. A lot of watersheds there.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it's just unbelievable the variety that you can see of the country just driving through Texas, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got so many different types of habitats, you know, in our
I think I need
and I'd say
information on Chris's last statement.
oh you know, we've got the Gulf Coast, we've got desert, we've got thick forests, we've got swamps, we've got it all.
Yeah,
you know,
it's amazing to me because I've spent a lot of time down in Texas, and it's amazing. I spent some time actually in the Houston area. I've been down to San Antonio. I've traveled that whole East Coast, and actually I've also been out to Amarillo. So I've traveled pretty extensively. I've been through I-40, I've been through I-20, I've been through I-10, all through Texas. And it is a very diverse system. When you get to certain areas, it's jungle. It's just like Louisiana in places. You get to some areas, it's forested. You get to other areas, it's like desert as desert could be. But that because that is the most of Texas. That's what people usually commonly associate Texas with, is this big dust bowl with tumbleweeds flowing by and a catfish or two, and maybe some guy dressed like Wyatt Earp. But
yeah, exactly.
But that's just not so. And by the way, San Antonio is a beautiful city. By the way, love the Alamo.
Thank you.
Love the.
Thank you.
Now I just want to confirm that no Bigfoot was shot behind the Home Depot. Correct?
No, and I will not speak the name because I will not give that person any power. They do not deserve it.
I figured I had to take that swing there.
No, as you should, because it's BS is what it is. So
yeah, that must have created a bunch of hell for you guys. You know,
well, it did because I'm trying to I'm not trying to convert people into believing what I believe, but these things are real, you know, and when we've got people out there doing whatever it is, you know, tomfoolery here, it makes people like me that are out there really searching for the truth and trying to, you know, find answers look like crap, you know, and so it doesn't help us at all one bit.
Now, usually I would be very skeptical of tree structures, but I'll tell you why. Because you have the people that will go out there once and start finding tree structures anywhere without any methodology. And the thing is that you keep going back to these areas and rechecking them and seeing more and seeing difference.
Right.
And that's a bit different than what we typically see, you know, on the drive-by social media where, oh yeah, look at this brick structure I found. Well,
right.
You know, without any context of, you know, well, were there any sightings nearby? Was there any other sign that you can find? You know, how often do you go there? What's the ecosystem? What's the, you know,
sure.
Yeah. And so you make a lot of valid points, and that methodology is solid. I mean, where are you going to look for a creature?
Right. And here's, I approach everything with humility and critical thinking. Right. I'm not going to look at every little stick or every tree and go, oh, Bigfoot. You know, right. I don't do that. Right. I try to debunk myself. I try to look at it and go, are there people involved? Or what do these pieces look like? I have to examine. Did this tree grow here? Right? How was it placed here? Is the root system still attached? Right. So these are things that I think people overlook, and they're really quick to write it off. They're really quick to write it off to go, oh, that's people, that's Boy Scouts. Oh, that's fake. Are you really? You come over here and let me show you a 15-foot tree with the root system still attached, fashioned in like a teepee type of structure, and tell me if you are able to lift it up and move it around, you know, feet from where it grew to make this tree structure.
Well, Rod, on the tree structures, have you noticed any of the type where it looks like they pulled a tree up or broke it off at the ground and then carried it somewhere and then leaned it up against another tree and maybe, you know, leaned some other tree, kind of like they're making a teepee or something?
Yes, absolutely. There's plenty of leans. There's plenty of A-frames. What I come across a lot are more of the A-frame type of varieties. We have
like a A position, but it's laying
Right.
down on the ground sometimes, or
well, it can. It depends on the area and the lay of the land. I mean, we're very kind of hilly in
Right.
San Antonio, so it could be just a one side lean,
right.
or it could be a full on A-frame. One of the biggest ones that I have found was off of a creek greenway called the Leon Creek, which is northwest in San Antonio. And that was, I called it the Beast. And I discovered that wood structure back in, I want to say 2018. And it was just phenomenal. It was like a wigwam structure. I took a wildlife biologist with me to go check, because he contacted me and said, hey man, you're posting some really cool stuff. I live in San Antonio, or I live around in the area. I think he lives on the outskirts. Can I come and check out what you got? And I said, yeah, sure. I'll meet up with you. And I showed him some of the stuff, and his mind was blown because he had no answer for me. He's like, I'm like, what animal does this that's indigenous to this area?
Right.
None whatsoever. And I said, do you think it's people? And he said, why would people do this? Why would people take the time to make this? It doesn't keep out rain. It doesn't keep out sunlight. Why would a person do this? For what? And the percentage of people that know about this stuff is very, very minuscule, very minuscule. So, so what is it? Then I'm not going to say who is it. What is it? I believe it's cryptid in origin. Now I'm not going to. I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that people that have come by on a trail have put their own little, touch on it or whatever. I'm not going to deny that. But if you're looking at pieces that are, 8, 9, 10 inches in diameter and 12 foot tall, who you have to wonder.
Guy's not going to do that, right?
Yeah, you have to wonder. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay Fritz.
Jay, thank you so much. What a great guy.
And for the folks that are getting the gift memberships, if you like what you see there, again, we're going to be having another seminar in just another couple of weeks. And we do seminars once a month. If you like what you see and you like supporting the channel, stick around. There's going to be a lot going on. Just waiting for me to get some clearances. Clarence.
Thank you so much, Jay. Appreciate you, buddy.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Steve. What? I'm sorry. What were you going to say, sir?
Totally forgot.
Well, Rod piqued my interest with these structures here. Rod, do you think some of them are like nests for sleeping in at night, and maybe others may be designed for something else?
I'll tell you.
Daytime hiding.
I'll tell you what my thoughts are. And again, the disclaimer that I tell everybody is like, I'm not there 24/7, so right. I don't know. Right. I think because the size of these things can vary. A lot of them are a little bit smaller, because I'll post this stuff on my social media accounts, and I get the question, well, this isn't big enough for a Bigfoot to live in, and I'm like, okay, they do have children, they do have kids, right? So to my knowledge, they can travel in pods or in tribes or whatever you want to call it. So if we're talking about these creatures procreating, they've got children. So I think that some of these are for the kids to be put in and stay safe while they go out and hunt. The adults go out and hunt. They get their kill. They come back, pick the child up, and then go back to wherever they reside. And that's what I think is what's going on.
It's not a bad working theory, to tell you the truth. I mean,
not at all.
Think about it, because that'll protect them from anything falling on them.
Right.
It may not keep them 100% away from the environment, but do you get a lot of rain in San Antonio anyway?
Last year was kind of dry. It really was. We've now this year we're getting a little bit more, which is good. I'm really happy to see that. So that last year was kind of an an oddball year. So, but typically we'll get some consistent rain, in San Antonio and South Texas.
Since we kind of started touching that topic, Mick asked a question. I'm going to get to his question first. It says, do you think any of the structures that you've seen have an evident purpose? Obviously, you just said that, such as a blind. How about a hunting blind? Do you think they may lay in wait in one of them as a hunting blind?
Absolutely, because whitetail are creatures of habit, right? So a lot of these wood structures are found adjacent, maybe just a few feet away from a game trail, right? So, and then there's coverage. Some of them will have one side where it's got foliage and it's covered,
right.
And then about maybe 6 feet away, there's or 6 or 7 feet, there's the game trail, and knowing. My family hunted a lot. Whitetail was always the thing that we hunt here. They're creatures of habit. You could just that they're going to come through. So
now,
if
that's the amazing thing about our wonderful country. We are probably separated by about 1,100 miles, and the major species to hunt around here is white-tailed deer.
White-tailed deer. There you go. And in fact, the city will have an overpopulation. The city will bait these things and trap them, and then move them further out into other places because
like New York.
Population. I know exactly what you're saying. We'll move them to New York. Yeah. We'll tell them that their family's going to go pick them up there, and that.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
That's not.
So
So Mike Freeman also asked the question too: have there been any instances where you found prints or hair in or around those structures?
Yes, I have. In fact, we found about 3-4 days ago. I found a big clump of hair, black, coarse, kind of wavy. And one thing I had to sit there and go, well, we're wild hogs coming through here, and wild hogs have straight.
Yeah, that's something
straight
you guys
hair.
have. Yep.
Right, straight hair. Right, but this was very curled up. I don't know if it's related to the subject. I have found other tufts of hair, and I've collected. My only problem is this, Steve. I'm self-financed, and
Sure.
I'm not making money. So
Right. Yeah. So here's something you may or may not know. Are you familiar with Darby Orcutt?
No.
Okay. So Darby Orcutt is a scientist, the University of North Carolina, Chris.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, he has a DNA study, and you can submit those hairs for DNA examination, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it.
Really?
Yes.
Can you send me that information? Because
I certainly can. And if
I would really love
that. If you want to, here's another suggestion: is get some very high quality pictures under some good light, maybe a white background, to these hairs.
Okay.
Right. And you want to send them to maybe somebody like Dr. Jeff Meldrum to evaluate, or maybe Kathy Strain, who's another anthropologist, archaeologist. Sure. And that way they can, before you go sending it off to Darby, they may recognize that as a known species of hair that we may not, because let's face it, I can't get all hair and say, oh, that's this or that's that.
Right. Right.
Like I got a hair one time, I brought it back and I put it under some light and got a big magnifying glass. And I noticed it was a very reddish brown hair, but it had a black tip. It was a fox.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, it wasn't very long. So that you want to, before you're sending it off to Darby, and because we don't want to kill all the time on the study with samples that are going to be null and void. Right. We want to first get them look at it, say, hey, I can't identify this hair.
No. Yeah. No, that's and those are things I don't know. I'm still I still consider myself a student, a newbie. Yep. I really do.
Yeah. In fact, it's DarbyOrcutt.com.
Okay.
ORCUTT. Darby, first name DARBY. Orcutt, ORCUTT.com.
Yeah.
if you could send me any, I would love to get in contact with anybody that is willing to take in any of my samples, because I don't know where to take them or where to send them, type of thing. So
Well,
absolutely.
Tell you something else too, right? Now I made a purchase, 3 or 4 years ago now, was a little microscope that plugs into your USB on your computer.
Oh yeah, those things are great.
Okay.
They were like $20, but you talk about bringing something in, man.
Yeah.
You could put a hair on a white piece of paper, then hold the microscope down there on it and just look at it on your computer monitor, and it'll let you record or take a picture or whatever. And that would be great. Those are great for you get an image of the hair, and then you go back through and look online. What does this match? What does this match? And if it doesn't match anything, hey,
you got something, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what? You know what, Chris? You know why Chris bought that at first, right?
Why?
I know I have a hair follicle here somewhere. I know I got a hair follicle here somewhere.
Oh no.
That's yeah.
Sorry, as you can see, I'm in rare form tonight, folks.
There you go.
That deserves a Ralph.
Oh, did I? Chris, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Uh-oh.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
We lost Chris.
Uh-oh. I can't hear anybody.
I can still see you.
Uh-oh, it's me, folks. I lost my sound.
Uh-oh.
Testing 1 2.
Yep. I can hear you. I can hear you.
We got it back.
I can hear. Yep.
I mean, Chris
is gone. Wait, he's trying to come back, I think. He's getting there.
Wish Chris would wait till I knew it was a technical glitch on my side. So
that's okay, man. I can pop out and pop right back in. No big deal.
But yes. So anyway, at the top of the hour, I would love to play a game with you two gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be kind of a funny game. Let's do it now. Just to break up our talk, as we've been well, actually, let's get to the rest of the questions, because we got like eight things in chat.
Oh, yeah.
So we got Brian and Chewy. That's 10. Tom Connolly asked, Rod, how big were them? I guess he was talking about the tree structures at the time, but you've already mentioned that some of them were.
So they're going to vary. Some of them, they're 4 foot in stature. I've had some that that I took the wildlife biologist to. He was 6 foot tall, and he could pretty much stand up in that thing. He just kind of had to bend his neck a little bit down. And but I've seen him as tall. I've seen him as tall as going inside, close to 6.5 feet, maybe 7 foot, depending on the area.
The structures just make sense to me too, because these creatures, some of them are very big, and what are they going to do? Now at nighttime, they're perfectly fine. They can bebop around in the dark, and nobody's going to be out there, screaming and running in terror. But in the daytime, hey man, they got to stay out of sight. So what are you going to do?
Right.
You have to do something.
Well, and that's why the cavern theory makes a little sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And think about it. It's cooler. It's and then if we're going to go back to the whatever the eye shine, they call eye shine, these people that have seen these eyes glow.
Mm-hmm.
Now at night, without lights on these things, these eyes are glowing. So again, the underground theory, I think, makes a little sense.
I always have a little caution when it comes to that, because the amount of light needed for eyes to make eye shine is very little. And a lot of people don't know that. It can be the dimmest of light, and these lights will, their eyes will illuminate very bright. And the fact that no mammal can do that kind of bioluminescence. So I kind of shy away from that, because that's not just one step away from known science. It's a few steps away. But your underground theory, I think, is very solid, given the temperature or the climate of that southern Texas, because it is very hot, and that may be just an adaptation, a cultural adaptation that they do there to avoid staying in that big basking heat.
Right. And the fact that this cavern stretches all the way into Austin.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge. I mean, I know you can't tell me that the city knows every nook and cranny of these caverns. They don't.
Right.
There's no way.
Right.
Are you serious? There's no way, So, so that's kind of what now, and this is coming from, looking at the creek and greenways that I've seen, and understanding, some of the wildlife that I've seen there. And also understanding a little bit of the history, I think, from some of these creeks. And the Salado Creek was actually used as passage to San Antonio, before the city grew, right? Native Americans used it to get in and out. Oh, it makes sense, right? So I can't go to a patch of woods that makes no sense in passage and go, yep, Sasquatch was here. I know it. It has to make sense, right? Where's the passage in and out? Where is the creek of the Greenway? And a lot of the encounters that I have heard through different podcasts where, hey, I was hunting off this creek and then I saw the creature. It makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Very cool. Okay, let's hit the game. I think you guys are going to have fun with this. So earlier, you had mentioned that I was mispronouncing Bexar County. I was pronouncing it as Bexar, which is completely wrong. And somehow I knew that, but I had forgotten it. So New York has some of the weirdest names of cities and towns. And so I'm going to put this one out to Chris and you. Pronounce this one.
Oh, that's easy. I got it. I know.
What the heck? I couldn't even tell you.
I know this one.
Okay, Chris, fire away.
That's Schenectady. Yeah. Schenectady.
That's right, Chris. You got it. Schenectady. All right.
I've been there.
Man.
All right. Team Mason-Dixon is 1 for 1.
That sounds like some kind of like disorder, or I don't know what.
Schenectady,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Weird.
Little known fact, Schenectady is the birthplace of Ann B. Davis. Ann B. Davis was the actress that played Alice in the Brady Bunch.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
And Schenectady was also the home of the first AM radio station.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Next one up. Oh boy, here we got some stumpers here.
Poughkeepsie. That's New York.
Yep.
Oh, hang on. We gotta get the all right. 2 for 2 for the Mason-Dixon crew.
Poughkeepsie, New York. I've been there in the winter. I did not like it.
All right. Okay, the next 3 are gonna get tough. Here we go.
Okay, I'm out.
You got me on that, man. You got me on that. I have no idea.
That one is Skinny Atlas.
Okay, first I was going to say snake eaters. My dyslexia came
I was
out.
going to say the same thing.
Skinny Atlas.
Like snake eaters.
Skinny Atlas.
Okay.
Snake eaters. Yeah,
now,
that makes sense.
Now the next one's going to be, the next one is a crick.
Oh,
Cairo, Egypt.
Yeah.
No, this is a town in New York.
In New York? That's Cairo, New York? Wow, cool.
Cairo.
Right on.
Yeah.
Wrong. It's pronounced Cairo.
No.
Caro. What?
Right here, it's pronounced Cairo.
All right. But in New York, it's pronounced.
In the South, we say Cairo.
All right. We're 2 for 4.
No. Cairo is that syrup that you get comes in the bottle and you put
Yeah.
on pancakes.
That's K-A-R-O.
Yeah, that's what I've used. Yeah.
That's Cairo.
And the next one up, here we go.
Guy, all I see is like spaghetti and Coke. I don't know.
I'm out. I don't know.
So there's two proper ways of saying this. The old timers will pronounce it Scatico, right? And some other people will pronounce it Scaticoke.
Scaticoke.
I don't think I've ever been through there.
It's Scaticoke.
I didn't remember it. That one got me. I don't know.
All right, that's the ones for tonight. Just to figure to have a little fun with that.
That was cool. I got Poughkeepsie. I can say that.
Chris got Schenectady.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah,
the only reason I know that
them,
I was on a tour and we went through Poughkeepsie to through Poughkeepsie, Syracuse. So there you go.
Oh, here we go. Is it pronounced Louisville or Louisville?
Well,
come on.
No.
Come on now.
No. If you're in Kentucky, it's Louisville.
It's Louisville, yeah. I know that.
No. Just
I know that.
Louisville.
Yeah.
You have no S in there at all.
You don't. Lord help you.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's right. Jermac, welcome, Jermac 10. Good to see you and glad to see you're chatting away. And we have intercourse in PA. You also have Bird in Hand, and you also have Blue Ball, Pennsylvania, too.
Whoa.
I think I've driven through intercourse PA.
Wow.
I believe I have. Yeah.
Wow.
That name sticks with you.
And there is a T-shirt they sell in Intercourse, New York, that says Virginia may be for lovers, but we have intercourse.
Oh my God.
Such an ugly word, man.
But
I live in Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania.
Louisville. That's right, Bristol. You got it. Louisville. That's it.
Weirdo.
Oh man. But I remember a lot of the names out I'm gonna pick on you guys in Oklahoma because along I-40 you've got towns like Lotta Wada.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of lakes around there, so Lotta Wada and Eufaula, I think was one of them. Eufaula.
Oh wow, look at this. Hell, Michigan.
Hell.
Two dot Montana.
All right. That's a new one on me.
Greenwick.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And that's true. Blue Ball is right next to Intercourse. No lie.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah.
Coincidence?
And Bird in Hand is also nearby too. Possum Junction, Kentucky.
Yeah, well.
There it is. Toad Suck, Arkansas. I'm pretty sure I was in Satanville, Florida when I drove through a storm a month back.
Oh man.
Hey Chris, have you been to
Bill, that was the first joke you told that doesn't get Ralphed.
That was good.
Chris, have you been to Hellier, Kentucky?
I can't recall. I may have.
There's a documentary called Hellier, and it's about the it goes down the rabbit hole to other stuff, but some of it is about the cave systems in Hellier, Kentucky. That some people have seen these cryptids coming out of these caves, these cave systems, and it's a very interesting documentary. So I didn't know if that was something you had heard of or not.
Can you remember the title of it, Rod? What was the title?
It's called Hellier. That's
Hellier,
the title.
okay.
Hellier. Check it out. I mean,
I will.
It was done by Greg and Dana Newkirk.
it was very interesting to me. And you know, going back to my cavern underground cave thing, you know, that kind of made sense. You know, if we're seeing these creatures coming out of, or people have witnessed these things coming out of these cave systems, or coming out of, you know, these caves, it makes sense. You know, so I thought it was intriguing to me. So,
well, yeah, I've often thought that too, that could be related. There could be some sort of relationship there, and I don't know, because, you know, like we were talking about before, when you're that big and it's daylight, you know, you got to go somewhere. You got
right.
You can't just be standing out in the open saying, "Look at me," because, you know, the mystery would have been solved a long time ago.
Absolutely. I believe I believe that fully, because, you know, again, it's one of those things where it's like, well, where do these things reside? Where do they go? Well, it makes sense if they're underground, if they're utilizing cave systems. To me, it made sense. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be wrong, but it does make sense. I mean,
well, here's the thing: you can't have any type of any science without a working hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
You got to come up with hypotheses. The first hypothesis we all traipse into the woods with is there a Bigfoot?
Right.
And then when we get to the point where I do believe there is a Bigfoot, so if a Bigfoot is here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then you have other branches of hypotheses. So really, you know what you're saying is sound, and now you just got to crack it. And I like Bear County Bigfoot's motto, which is
boots on the ground.
And of course, Chris knows that I was using that for years. That, you know, with boots on the ground investigation, always beats everything.
You influenced that, Steve.
Oh, thank you.
Because I followed you for a while. That's where I got this from you.
Wow, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
That's what it takes. Boots on the ground.
Yeah. Well, because I want people to know I'm not an armchair researcher. I'm out there. I'm out there grinding, man. Any free time I have, I'm out there. You know.
And the funny thing is, and Chris has been witness to this, how many times on this channel or in a social media post, somebody will say, "Oh, you're just an armchair researcher," and they're calling me an armchair researcher.
They have no idea.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Well, you must be. I remember somebody put that on Facebook, and I left it up because I lambasted them. I go, "You must be a noob." I go, because I have been to 46 and a blah, blah, blah. And I just went down the whole list. And I said, now tell me I'm jealous.
Yeah. That's coming up next. Yeah.
Because you know what? No amount of money can take away the experiences and the fun and the people I've met through this wonderful journey. Yes, I've met some real shitheads, but the great people, the good people, and a lot of those people over there in our audience tonight are great people that make being in this so worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is like, now you have a team, I assume.
No, it's just me and my wife.
Oh, right. Excellent.
That's a team. That's a team.
And you know, that's a good thing.
I keep it that way, Steve, because not that in the future I would not want to add one other person, but I have to trust that person. That's the thing. And I don't want to be liable for somebody that may have some type of ailment that I don't know about. They don't disclose, and then we're out there and something happens. God forbid. I would not want somebody to hurt or worse. So I
get that. I
keep it just with me and my wife, you know.
You know, but that is awesome, because you know, I'm married, but it took me 14 years to get remarried.
Mm-hmm.
A long time. 14, 10, 17, no, 14. Yeah, 14 years to get remarried. It's very hard when you do not have the support of a significant other.
It's very hard. My wife is my biggest cheerleader, man.
And there is so much truth to behind every good man, there's a good woman. So
Absolutely.
much
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so tell me, and this is the way the show rolls. Sometimes it goes off into these weird turns. But so tell me what value it is to you to have your significant other on your team.
It means everything to me. Because I know what it's like to not have that support from somebody that you have poured yourself into for years and years, right? I was married before, and my wife, she's big. This is what I did in the beginning. I said, you know what? I'm going to show her this up front first, and if she runs off, well, then she's not the one, I guess, But she embraced it. And she is all about it. And she'll even tell me, look, you need to get out there. Don't be sitting on the couch. We need to get out there. We need to get, and she's the driving force. She really, when I'm down and I feel like, I'm just kind of being aloof and, I'm being lazy. She's like, Rod, let's go. Come on, let's get out there. And I'm like, whoa, she's the driving force. And had it not been for her, I don't think we would have found a lot of stuff that we would have found, because she's encouraging. She's getting me, she's motivating me, So, behind every man is a good woman. And I give her all the credit in the world, because I don't think I would have any of this stuff or any of the documentation I have now, which I'm not saying like I'm this grand, researcher. Right, but it makes sense, you got to have, everybody needs somebody in their life to encourage and get them motivated, and my wife is that person, and I give her all the credit in the world, man. She's that to me. She's
great.
Yeah,
you got
absolutely.
A good one.
I do. Yes, sir.
Finding a trackway says, I'm pretty sure I was yelling my motto to the Florida mosquitoes.
Yes, I mean, to me, you just got to have that, and if you're self-motivated, God bless you, man. That's great, But sometimes, as a man, you need that other half. That's important.
People did not understand that, for the first 7 years of doing this. I mean, from actually 9 years of doing this, from 98 to 2007, I never had the backing of a significant other. Never. Zip. But I muddled through. I started a podcast. I still did it. Still.
You had the drive.
Yep. And, I'm really a lucky man now, because my wife is like, when we going out? Yeah. There's Mike Freeman said, hi, I was married. That's our good friend, Mike Freeman.
Yeah.
Son of Paul Freeman.
Yep.
And he says, I was married to my wife before she even knew who my dad was or anything about Bigfoot. And my God, she married you. And she stayed married to you. That's amazing.
Michael's a real one, man. He's a real one.
Well, it's good. It's good to have that support at home, and it's really important. My wife supports me 100%, but she doesn't want to see a Bigfoot. she knows, that these things are out there from
nope,
me.
I don't see it. Nope.
She don't want to see it. No, don't want to go.
Yeah.
But we had this discussion earlier today. I'm glad this came up, because we had this discussion earlier today. I said, well, come on, let's go. It's time to go, because we were going to go out and trekking, which we did. But she said, well, why don't you take Andy with us? That's my son, my youngest son. She said, why don't you take Andy? Well, why do you want to take me for? She said, why do you need me to go? I said, bait. Bigfoot bait. Yeah.
Get out there.
I will say this too. Apparently, how, she said, your wife doesn't want to see a Bigfoot. I guess here's a cheap shot. I guess neither does Kelly Shaw. On Tuesday. Sorry, had to do that.
Had to. My wife is the one that would go chasing after that creature. In fact, no, she's. I'm the guy that's going. No, come on, let's no. She's she's tough as nails, man. She is not phased by a lot of things. So yeah, she's.
I think it's great, and when mine goes, I have to give her. I always. I know she's probably getting tired of hearing it, but I always have to tell her if we see one or if we're walking through here and one steps out from behind a tree, don't scream. Don't scream. Just stand there. Say nothing. Don't look at it. Just don't scream. Don't
make
anything.
eye contact.
Don't make.
You know, I just made that little noise. and I woke the office assistant up. He's now looking at me like,
uh-oh.
Sorry, go back to sleep. It's okay. Really.
You're okay.
But it's time for another treat, I bet. Oh yeah.
Yep, there he goes. I thought I had a Shih Tzu, instead I got a Chow Hound.
Pay the cheese tax.
Oh, I had to pay that. I made grilled cheese the other day for lunch, and I had to pay the cheese tax.
Oh man, no good.
Soon as they hear that cheese wrapper, both of them, the Shih Tzu and the Shepherd, they're like,
Rufus. Yeah.
I try to give the cat here. We tried to give the cat here tilapia, some fish, and she wouldn't have it. She wouldn't have none of it. And I was like, well, maybe if it was salmon, I don't know.
Okay, so we do have a question from Uriel C. Uriel, welcome to the show. And thanks for asking the question. Have there been Bigfoot reports from Yosemite National Park? Well, none that I know off the top of my head, but I'm sure there probably has been one or two throughout the years. One would think that in such a rich, forested area and with so much game, I mean, one of the few areas where you do actually have grizzly bear in the United States is that little swath in Wyoming where Yosemite is, and in western Montana. Grizzlies are not common to Oregon. They're not common to most of Washington state. They do get an occasional one, but that's it for grizzlies. People think they go to Colorado. Oh, there might be a grizzly. Nope, they're north.
Well, when we went to see Old Faithful, the geyser, I didn't see any Bigfoot there either. That don't mean there isn't any.
Here's a good question, Rod. What's your opinion on the general disposition of Sasquatch in Texas? Aggressive, timid, a little gassy, perhaps. Many of the plausible encounters that I've read about down there depicted aggressive behavior.
Aggressive. That's exactly what I hear. That's coming from a couple of people that have experienced some aggressive behavior. Now this is coming from East Texas. We're talking about the Sam Houston National Forest, where there have been numerous sightings and encounters. I think a lot of researchers have gone through that area from other states as well. They kind of go out there and they experience some very aggressive behavior, rock throwing. I had heard of an encounter from a gentleman that had these things. His dad's property was up against that national forest, and maybe you'd heard this episode, Steve. This is on Sasquatch Chronicles. This gentleman had he had took a shot at one of these things, and I think.
Hang on a second there. The Sasquatch Chronicles again strikes.
There you go. So I had heard this encounter, and this is other encounters as well that from that area as well. So I've heard of people having aggressive encounters with that particular area. So that I think the jury is out that these things in Texas, I think, are more aggressive. than your quote forest friends. I don't know.
Now, why do you think that is? Do you have any ideas, or just a wild guess?
I still think if you're an 8-foot biped covered in hair and you're in humidity, that's just crazy. I'd be pissed off too.
Yeah, I would tend to think that would make you a little cranky.
Yeah, I would think so. I would not be happy. Or hey, maybe that's just by nature. I think that we do have. I think we do have different types. I think there's different personalities, or what have you, of these creatures. And again, but this is based off of just encounters that I've heard from people talking about what they saw and what they experienced in East Texas, and then a little bit further closer to where I'm at as well.
Tackle asks, have you guys heard of any Bigfoot reports on Fort Knox? I have not.
Just one recently on Charlie Raymond's site.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. About 3 weeks ago now, I think it was.
Yep. What's your advice for being in areas with aggressive reports? Not like Texas, but my advice would be, business as usual. Because the likelihood of it actually, when they say aggressive, that means they're going to be a little more cantankerous or less timid than your normal Sasquatch. They may not attack you, but they're going to display a little bit more because they just don't want to be bothered. It's too warm, perhaps.
Sure.
And then Texas Mike, Waldy, Mike, how are you? He says, I investigated an aggressive report. Steve was at the conference when we showed it and edited down video. Yes, absolutely. That was very interesting. So yeah, they do. I mean, if you look at the Bobby Ford incident in Fouke, Arkansas, that was a very aggressive behavior by those Sasquatch, being very bold and reaching into the windows and walking on the porches, and then Bobby Ford running out and then bumping into one, and that was it. He was traumatized from that. So yeah, they were not afraid, and they were a little bit cantankerous.
I do have a friend that, before I had disclosed any of the research or, what I do, basically, she had mentioned that there was some instances or some situations where her parents live on an older piece of property that is part of a tributary of the Salado Creek. It has a spring water that runs through it. There's plenty of white-tailed deer, and they live on a piece of property that's got two older houses that are on pier and beam. So they're tall. Pier and beam houses are very tall, and this is before I disclose anything that I do. And she said, my two boys, we moved in this house. My two boys were scared to sleep in their room, and we're talking about 8 and 9-year-old little boys. And they would run into my room and say, hey, there's somebody looking in our window. It's tall and it's dark. It's scary, right? And the first time she said, okay, yeah, come and sleep with me. It's fine. 2 and 3 and 4 times, she's like, hey, look, you guys got to start sleeping in your own room. Like, she thinks that they're making it up, that they just want to go sleep with mom and be close to mom, right? And so they described this creature as, they said, quote, it was a tall, big black man that's standing and looking in our window. And she was like, I don't know what it was or who it was. And she thought, this is private property. Why, we don't have anybody just traipsing around. And come to find out, the window, of course, being pier and beam, we're talking maybe 7-8 foot up with this window, right? So, we're talking about a very tall, big person that is looking in the window. So she went ahead and put some drapes, and that seemed to help a little bit. And then she told me at one point in time that there was she was in the kitchen cooking, and she felt like it felt like a freight train just hit my side of my house, boom, and almost pretty much shook the house. Right, went out to go see what it was, didn't see anything. Another instance where she was cooking again, and she had the I guess the back door is close to the kitchen, and she had smelt this smell that was terrible. She's like, it was bad. And again, went outside to investigate what the heck this smell was, and it was gone. Whatever the smell was, it's left. So, and then after that, I was like, well, that sounds like classic behavior from what I know. And soon after that, and I like to think that I did something good, because she was like, we got to get out. Like, I got to get an apartment in the city and be out. And that's what she did. And, so I had asked if I could get out on that property and see if I could investigate, but, the parents just weren't really into it and didn't want me there. So, but, I found that very interesting, and I thought that was just classic behavior of these creatures.
A lot of reports from Alabama mention the creatures hitting the side of the house too,
or slapping the side of the house. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Window peeking. That's a thing. Yeah. Now the smell I hear from I think it's person to person. Some people don't smell that have that smell, and then they encounter the creature, they didn't smell anything, or they have that smell and they encounter the creature.
Right.
In my experience, the two I did see, I did not smell.
Right.
But the one I heard walk around us, and we ended up getting the 4-day cast, the trackway of it. We smelled that guy, and like bang, bang, it was there and it left.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very distinct. I mean, I was a paramedic. I've been to death scenes before, and I've been in houses where people have been dead for a couple of weeks. And
what that smells like.
And the smell of these things, far worse. Far worse, if you can believe that. Death, skunk, musk, wet dog, all garbage, all rolled up into one.
Yeah, we got to say it in Kentucky, you would gag a maggot.
Yeah.
One thing I started doing was deploying audio recorders in a couple of areas, and I'm still kind of it's hours and hours of audio, which you know how that is. It's tedious. You got to sit there and just listen to stuff. And one of it's on my Instagram if you want to take a listen to it. It's Bear County Bigfoot. I've got, and you have to have some headphones on to really hear what I captured. And I felt like this area was active, so I hid this audio recorder in a tree stump and I covered it up a little bit and sifted through some of the audio, and some of it was really intriguing. One thing I think to notate was that, when I heard the footsteps coming, what I believe biped footsteps, one thing to notate was that the area was quiet, went dead silent. Not even the crickets were heard. Nothing. It was dead silent. And then you hear footsteps. And what I captured was around, I think maybe about the 2 or 3 hours in from when I had deployed the audio recorder, and what I heard was just a type of vocal.
So I'll say this: if you want to send me, the isolated file, I can amplify those for you.
I would love to. I would love to do that. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
And even this is one I amplified, but I didn't have to amplify it too much. But last September, and hopefully we'll have a repeat performance this year. Mm-hmm. We got this up in my research area number 1. It's very brief.
Wow.
And
that's amazing.
That definitely was, and it only did it.
Wow.
And it only did it once. And that was it. The rest of the night was relatively quiet. So I'm just waiting for mid-April, which we're almost there, and that's when they usually open the roads up to my research area. And then it's back up there at night to well, I go up in the day first because I got to make sure the roads are good.
Mhm.
And then if they're good, then I'll go back up there at night and start
Grasshopper made a good point here. He said
Yes.
nobody checks the wind direction when they get hit by the smell.
True.
Yeah, well, that night it was very windy, so that was. So we got two more questions. We'll take Nick's question first. Are there any reports of Sasquatch heading south of the border or activity in northern Mexico?
It's not that I have heard of personally, but it's possible because there are some accounts that I have heard of that were further south, closer to the Gulf Coast, Kingsville, Corpus Christi, and those areas there. So I don't doubt that there may be some type of activity going on south of the border, northern Mexico.
Personally, I think that Sasquatch do not get along with the chupacabras in Mexico, so we may. There could be. That sounds like a new movie, man. The war of the Sasquatch.
They probably even get along less with the cartels.
They're probably being weaponized as we speak.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
War between the Sasquatch and the chupacabras.
Could happen. Who knows?
So Tom Connolly asked me, what's my take on 411?
Yeah.
And my take on it is very simple. As a professional investigator of 35 years, I've investigated all sorts of different malarkey crimes, missing persons. Like I said, I've had an arson investigation that led into a murder scene, which is really a unique case. I've done a few cold case things. And what I see on 411 most of the time, like 99% of the time, can be explained by very physical things such as hypothermia, such as, somebody not being prepared to getting lost in the forest and end up, perhaps hurting themselves or falling down a gully, or perhaps having a medical incident. And just because they haven't found their body does not mean anything supernatural or out of the normal realm has occurred. It just simply means the person is missing. And I think it's kind of presumptuous. And from what I understand from folks that are, especially with the, can't think of the guy's name, but he went missing up in Lily Pond. Tom, I'll think of it. There's a film crew that's doing a documentary about that. And a lot of the people were reluctant to come forward and give their accounts because of the taste that was left behind in their mouth from the 411 production. So that says a lot right there. And since that particular area is very close to home where I live, it's only a county over. I live in Washington County, and if you just go northeast, we also border Warren County as well. We border Washington County borders Vermont to our east, and it borders Saratoga County and Warren County to the north. Or I should say to the west, and to the north we have Essex County. That's but Warren County, we do border Warren County. It's maybe an hour away from where I live, where the gentleman went missing. And like I said, a lot of the people had a really bad taste in their mouth from that production because they only seem to be focusing on, some of the quirky stuff, but not some of the, real logistical stuff. So that, again, it's all about Hollywood. It's all about TV. It's all about keeping the viewer hooked.
Yeah.
Right. Didn't have a list of the names.
Right.
Missing.
They also covered a guy that went missing right across the river here, not 2 miles from where I live. And they covered him on the same episode. And the fact was the guy was a politician in Saratoga County. Oh, wow. So, and
Texas Bigfoot Rangers. Good Lord. $49.99. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Wow.
Mike.
You.
Very generous.
Thank you so much, Mike. Mike is one of our biggest supporters, and I really appreciate him. And I got to get my ass back down. I got to get my ass back down to Jefferson and to see the gang for the Texas Bigfoot Conference, because
I'll be there in October.
And unfortunately, I think the what day in October is it this year? It's like the
God, you got I have to look at my calendar.
I may actually be available. I mean, I'll see if I can get down there and come as a spectator this year. I know Dr. Haskell Hart is going to be there this year, and that's going to be a great event. You know, Dr. Hart's awesome. And I'm sure Shelly Covington, Montana is going to be there. She's awesome as well. Mike, of course. I wonder how his new Bigfoot rig's going. His old one, we had a lot of fun with that. We were he was call blasting people as they were walking by the truck in the middle of downtown Jefferson. People like,
oh man.
And then of course we got yelled at, but that's okay.
Jermac 10. Tom Messi, wasn't it?
That's it. Yes.
Messi.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jermac 10.
Thank you.
Craig has been really gracious, and he's been really he's a member of my group as well on Facebook. Nice. and he's been very nice, and I'm really happy to be a part of. I'm going to be a vendor, so I'll be there in October as well. So
what I love is, and I like seeing that, is that a lot of you Texas guys all kind of know each other, and nobody's really too much bumping heads, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I understand people come from different walks of life. There's different outlooks and different things, and I hear everybody out. I really do, and I try not to pass any judgment, only because I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not an expert, right? So I really try to hear everybody out, and hey, whether if it's really crazy or what, fine. Let me hear you tell me what you got, and and then that's where I leave it.
I always try to talk people off the edge on some things.
Sure.
And sometimes you have to do that. Like,
you want to be the voice of reason. I think guys like you, we need people like you in what we do, because we need to have some reasoning. We need to have some Occam's razor, right? So it makes sense.
But we also need to be compassionate about it.
Absolutely.
I remember
absolutely.
Her name is Cookie Stringfellow, and I remember having a conversation with her several years ago. And I was at a paranormal conference, and I had my Bigfoot stuff, and she was had her UFO stuff up, and she was a very firm believer in Bigfoot and UFOs being all one and the same. And I sat there and I listened to her, and I said, well, and I started giving her some of my thoughts. And at the end of the discussion, which really told me I was going in the right direction, was she goes, I want to thank you. You may not agree with me, and you've kind of given me quite a bit of things to think about, but you listened to me, and I appreciate that. You didn't cut me off.
Right.
And that's, that's the, what I try not to do sometimes is cut people off.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I try. Sometimes it comes right at me. Wait, hold on.
Well, and I think part of that too is just because of what you've done as a career for so long, that your instincts kick in. You see the red flags, you hear it.
But everybody in this field can get the same tools. They can get the same vibes. They can, as they do it more and more, they talk to more and more people. Yeah. And if they just follow the prescribed methodology of just going in there with no biases at all. Let me forget that I've had a Bigfoot sightings. Let me forget that, I believe Bigfoot is this. Let me forget about that there's 10 gazillion hoaxers out there. Let me just hear this person out. It is what it is, and we'll take it from there, and we go step by step, and every case gets the same process.
Right.
And that's crucial.
Yeah.
And if one thing I try to teach people is, again, and of course I'm preaching to the choir here, is when there's a picture or video come out, okay, that looks interesting, forget about it. See it once and forget about it. Now look at the story and concentrate on the story, because unless it's CGI, where you're going to get some actual objective evidence saying, hey, look, this is where, you notice the figures in front of the rock, not behind the Independence Day footage, for example. Right. There's a part where it's running with the baby. And there's a portion where actually the Bigfoot's waist pops in front for 2 frames in front of the rock and then disappears back and behind the rock again. And, it was obviously did not move naturally, and obviously it was CGI. But you got to concentrate on the story. And the story, there was no story. So that puts the whole thing right there in the trash can. If there's no story on a film or video or anything like that, if you can't say, when did this happen? Where did this happen? Who filmed this, at least by a screen name? If you can't reference the actual source of the video, it's garbage. It's not worth it. It's nothing.
Right.
And
I think the other thing too is that I get a lot of pushback on, this Sasquatch surely won't go where people are, and because a lot of my trace evidence is close to suburban areas. Well, it's off of a creek greenway. There's numerous encounters of people encounter these things, around their neighborhoods. And lo and behold, there's a creek or a greenway or a patch of woods that are, a microforest where the area makes sense. There's passage in and out of that area, right? There's, and I think people put this creature in this, and if it doesn't fit inside of this, no, there's no way. Well, I don't know.
There can be instances where,
sure,
especially at night, when everybody's inside, and if you ever step outside of your house, even in a rural area like I live in a suburban area. I live in a park, but you can step out during the day and you can hear the din of the day's activities. But at nighttime, you step out, it's silent.
Yeah.
And that's, you can feel that temporal shift in the busyness of the area, the din, the sound waves, and they emanate from the cities and they emanate from the neighborhoods and the roadways of traffic going by back and forth. And then when it's not there, and this is the time when these creatures roam. And yes, I have investigated very successfully, even though the sighting was back in the 1980s. There was a sighting in Waterford, New York, where 4 boys had seen what they claimed was a Bigfoot, Sandy Brown, and it walked into a wooded area behind a cemetery. And that whole area at the time was very forested, wasn't very developed. The police they called the police. That's how concerned they were. These kids called the cops. Now, if they were faking it, they wouldn't have called the cops, number one. Number two, the cops showed up, and they kind of, the actual sergeant showed up, and he made a very serious attempt. They said they found a dead muskrat or something, and that was the end of the report. But they had seen something. I actually corresponded with one of the kids at the time and agreed, it was there. What can I say? It stood about this tall, and it went into the wood line, and my friend so-and-so and my friend so-and-so was there. Because when I freed him, I actually found the article. I was looking through the John Green archives, and it referenced the article. So I went to the article, and I got the newspaper article, and from there, I got the details, and then I freedom of information requested the police department of the report, and I actually got this 30. At the time, it was 30 some odd years, and I got this report, which was amazing. There you are. Which was completely amazing. to get a 30-year-old Bigfoot report. And there it is in front of you. And they didn't redact the names, which I found really amazing too. And I think the big reason why was because the kids are no longer
there?
Yes. Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you. How about it, Rod? Can you hear me, bud?
Hello?
Oh.
Rod, you might have to step back out and come back in, or check your audio settings.
I can hear you just fine, but he can't hear us, I think.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us talking, Rod? Okay.
Hello?
Check 1 2. Check. Come in, Houston. Or actually, come in San Antonio. Oh, there's this.
Go out and
Hello?
come back. I hope he can read my chicken scratches here. Uh-oh, wait a minute.
Oh. Can't hear y'all.
Can you see that, Steve?
Okay, you can hear me. I can't hear y'all.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. Very weird.
There we go. Rod, go out and come back in. Can you hear me now, bud?
Weird.
No. I think he can't see us on the screen there. Maybe he'll go out and come back in. All right, what about now? Can you hear us now?
All right, there we are.
Yeah. Good.
Modern technology at its best.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
It's great. No,
Sorry about that.
It's great when it works.
That's okay. I blame Skinny Atlas.
These things happen.
Usually they happen towards the beginning of the show, not towards the end of the show. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Then Steve will be talking and having a good time right before the show. Then the show will start. Then nothing works.
Right. but just so people know out there in our audience, feel free if there was a Bigfoot report that happened and the police responded. And obviously these things get closed down pretty fast. You're entitled to freedom of information request, the report, the 911 call, any photographs taken, any type of evidentiary pictures that were taken. As long as the case is closed, you're entitled to it, and you can do it by a Freedom of Information Act. And the reason how you do it is just go to the police department website, look at the records department, and usually there's something about a FOIL or a FOIA request. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you'll see a FOIL request, Freedom of Information Law, or a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act. You fill out the form, you mail it in, they'll tell you how much it's going to cost you. It could cost you anywhere from 10 cents to 25 cents per page for a report, and then a set price for any media, maybe $20 for a recording and stuff like that.
It's not bad.
Yep. So you can get that information really easy, and hell, it probably makes some good content.
No,
kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, but just to my amazement, to get a 30-year-old police report, wow, there it is.
Yeah.
And now I know who the investigating officer was. And in the kid's case, it was a sergeant. And where it was, what was the location, what was seen, who was involved, where they lived, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was really friggin' cool.
No, I think that's a great tool to use.
Yep. So folks out there, if you're interested in some older reports and the police were involved, it's also a good tool for determining, BS going on too. Remember Linda Newton Perry's from Bigfoot Valley, who her first attempt was trying to say people aren't reporting Bigfoot sightings because their driver's licenses are being taken away from in Oklahoma or Oregon, rather.
Oregon, yeah.
And actually, it was David Paulides who wrote the Oregon DMV, and the DMV is like, what? No, we don't base any criteria on that. We have no idea, where this came from. Oh, I can tell you where it came from. It came from Linda Newton Perry.
Well, that would be something else that put that on the driver's test. Have you seen Bigfoot? And if you put down there, yes, you flunked. That's it. No license for you, buddy.
Sorry.
Weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And of course, we have to ask Eric for his word. I always love when somebody will mention, alternate universes and stuff like that.
Right.
Because we have the famous
Yes.
Eric quote.
Might even have a parallel universe where Tom Biscardi is honest.
I can't remember, but I think I was listening to that show. I believe it was the one that Eric Bexar was on.
Yeah.
More than once, though. You had him more than once.
He was on twice, and the second time I had Eric, or not Eric, I had Sean Fork Chop on.
Forker, yeah.
And Forker got Eric so frustrated. He was the first and only person I ever knew that Eric decided to quit, hung up, and didn't come back on for the rest of the show.
Oh.
Which, and then we've only had one, out of all our guests, we've had, I think in we're almost out of time here anyway, but I think in all the shows we've done over the years, Chris, is I think we've only had 3 instances where we had, and the minor one was Eric leaving because we still had Sean on to do it.
Yeah.
And then we had the incident with a particular Ohio researcher that came on, not with all her facilities.
Right.
And then we had a show where we had somebody continuously lie, and I booted him because he got out under false circumstances. And I decided, okay, and we let it go on for and we were doing an hour show at the time. And at the 35-minute mark, I had enough, and I said, I'm sick of hearing this guy's lies. Boom. And because I had Chris come on and dispute what he was saying, I had Matt Knapp come on from Bigfoot Crossroads come on and say, wait, you're wrong, Bob, you're wrong. And and then to boot, I had the police report, and you were trying to say, oh, we felt like we were being threatened and we were fearing for our lives. I go, really? He goes, well, were you there? I said, no, but I have the police report, and it doesn't say you were in fear of your lives on anywhere in the police report.
And he didn't extreme, I think.
And he did not know what to say at all after that.
The story had a little bit added on to it to make it juicier. It sound like.
And trying to make them sound like the victims when they really weren't the victims. And that was actually over the Bigfoot body hoax. And one of the interesting archive. Somewhere I got to find the archive of that show. I know I have it somewhere. I got to find it.
I looked. I looked on.
Oh no, I have. I'm sure I have a physical copy of it somewhere.
Well, that would be great. I wish you could get that and put that on YouTube. That would be worthy of saving, preserving, because I've looked on Blog Talk for the Bexar shows and stuff before, and they're gone. They're not.
Yeah. And even a lot of the other shows we have.
Yeah.
Like there's a span of shows from 2010 to 2019.
Yeah.
And you can't even get any of those. They just go to a blank player. So it's like all the media we had there has been wiped. Thank goodness I did save some of the shows that we had and migrated them to the YouTube channel. Yeah. But anyway, it is 10:55, so we might as well wrap up. And Rod, I want to thank you for coming on tonight.
Yes.
It's been a most enlightening, eye-opening thing about, I did not realize, the extent of stuff that goes on down in that particular area in Bexar County.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Texas, and it's awesome. And if I can make it down to Jefferson in October, I'll see you there. But if not,
absolutely.
If not, you'll probably see me there the year after. So
sounds good to me, man.
But anyway, any final thoughts for your folks out there, and how can people get a hold of you?
So I'm on all the major socials. TikTok, it's Bexar County Bigfoot. Just Bexar County. It's with the X, right? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I have a private group, but you can find us if you search. I keep it private only because I try to, we've got so many trolls out there that just want to start chaos and stir up, drama. I really try to protect a lot of my members, from that. If I can absorb, all the craziness, then I'll take it on myself. And, but if you are on Facebook, you can find us there as well. And that's kind of where we're at. I've got a YouTube channel as well. I'm sorry, Bear County Bigfoot. So if you would like to follow me there, I've got a number of videos you can check out. So it would be great if you can subscribe and check me out. So, yep.
Very cool.
Very cool. And on behalf of me, I want to thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
You're one of the honest guys out there doing the job, doing the field work, boots on the ground.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. And
thank you.
You are the future of this. So
thank you.
I love the fact that Rod's putting his mind to work and coming up with working theories. Why are they doing this? He's not just seeing it and saying, "Oh, look at that." He's saying, "Why are they doing this? And why would they?"
And one thing I tell everybody is that I'm not claim to have all the answers. I'm not the messiah of the Bigfoot researchers here.
Nobody is.
Nobody is, exactly. No, and nobody can tell me that they are. Right. I'm just another person just searching for the truth. That's it. That's where I leave it.
That's good, man. Can't ask for anything better.
Okay, Chris, do your thing.
Yeah. Well, again, Rod, thank you for coming on with us. It was a pleasure having you. Great discussion.
Thank you.
Always, I want you to come back soon too.
Absolutely, I would love to.
And I want to thank all of our listeners over there in the chat. We appreciate you guys. What a great bunch of questions we had tonight. Wow. I just can't believe we got the best audience in Bigfooting, bar none. We appreciate you guys. And if it's the first time watching, go ahead, Steve.
And I want to thank Jay Fritz for gifting 5 memberships tonight. And I want to give a big thanks out to Mike, Texas Bigfoot Rangers.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, sir.
We appreciate each and every one of you. And if anybody was new here tonight, and I saw a few, if you hadn't subscribed to the channel, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. If you liked the episode, punch a like, share it out if you can, and help us out, because we don't do this, promotion crap and all that. We're just word of mouth. And all you guys on the podcast, hey, we're thinking about you too. Stop by the YouTube channel and check out some of the videos.
Yeah, and if you haven't hit that notification bell, ring the bell. As Chef Jean Pierre, who one of the YouTube channels I follow, he's always like, "Don't forget to ring the bell."
Ring the bell.
I love that guy. He's funny. He's insane. And hey, Snowman Dave. Hello, Snowman Dave. Good to see you. And don't forget, we want to thank the platypus jokes as well. But anyway, folks,
wait a minute. Before we go, we missed the platypus joke. Wait a minute. I know there's one in here. I know we're coming down to the last second, but hang on.
Yeah, something about falling flat.
There it is.
Yep.
There's tales of platypus making wood structures, but they all fell flat.
Good one.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
All right, folks. So on behalf of all of us, we will see everybody Friday night, 9 Eastern for the Bigfoot news. And of course, keep your eyes out. We're going to try to get another Squatch Stories out this Thursday. But Tuesday morning, Tuesday, we're going to have the big, and Don, yes, you can do your little fight card thing. That's fine. But Tuesday we'll be doing the RMSO takedown. And, Chris has already seen the video. It's done. And what I may do is tomorrow for the members, I'm going to put it up for the members tomorrow.
That would be good. Yeah.
So the members will get
early access.
Early access to it. because it's in the can, ready to go. It's just got to be uploaded. And again, much love to you guys out there. We'll see you all this Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Squatch-D TV. Everybody, be safe, stay healthy, and of course, God bless, and keep on squatching.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member, and it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.